This is telling you that underneath New York City is a Tartarian city.
I couldn't tell you, man. It looks like some type of Seraphim.
That is from the 1500s. 1500s.
Look, it had mountains and hills. What is that, though? Got like some type of serpent out there protecting it. They look like scales. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like scales.
Look at that.
You're wondering where your dragons are. They're petrified, and you're walking on them.
You know the crazy part about all this looking like meat and dragons, I believe there's a verse that says we should eat the Leviathan, literally. Thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan into pieces and gavest him into meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness.
This is what Operation Highjump is all about. Highjump. They want to get up here and they want to escape here. Here is where there's a dome. There's a dome covering this whole entire thing.
You better lock in and buckle up, bucko, because you're in for another creepy and scary TikTok reaction video. You want to be careful on these creepy, scary, disturbing, bizarre, and weird videos because they might just change your reality and keep you up all night. If you haven't already, please slap that like button and let's dive into today's video. I'm JetskiChucK and this is Dark Waters 9.
Somebody discovered a puddle underneath the ocean, yo. Just when you thought you knew it all, right? And I know y'all remember the old person that was telling us back in the day, like, they went inside of the ocean and they basically couldn't descend under it because it was like an ocean, another ocean underneath the ocean that was so like dense he couldn't do it, right? This is real, yo. This is how you know that there's a separate realm underneath. Look at that. As above, so below. This is the guy that I was talking about, the dude that had went underneath the ocean. Y'all remember? Look.
Inside the ring of missiles was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm already underwater.
Crazy.
Over the water in this lake and tried to descend it.
And he couldn't.
It was so super saline and dense. It was so weak.
They told us in Moana that there's an ocean underneath the ocean. That's the entrance to Hollow Earth, y'all. That's why the water's like that. Then you peep what's underneath Hollow Earth, yo. Just a theory. Who's to ever know, yo? Like, this could really be a portal to Hollow Earth, or places like that could really be portals, yo. Or they could be wormholes to Atlantis, and that could be their stars. Whoa! Oh my God! Somebody discovered a puddle underneath the ocean.
We getting too much information. It's coming out. How to get to Hollow Earth. Y'all better stop playing. It's time to buckle up, bucko, because we're going to Agartha.
Because it was like an ocean.
Oh, no. Oh, man. They got to land ASAP. They got patches up there in the right wing. Yeah, y'all gotta land. We gotta get patches on down. That's crazy.
One of the other lands in our realm that is heavily restrictive on our travel and exploration. They tell us there's nothing in the North Pole, just ice sheets. But looking back at hundreds of old world maps depicting something much different than we've been told, all showing the same 4 islands with a mysterious black rock mountain in the middle, said to be a magnetic mountain. And not only are they depicting the same land, but they say they were inhabited. Just look at some of the descriptions, even a Tartarian village. The famous cartographer Mercator in 1577 wrote a letter to a friend in England, describing the north as this: in the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which there empties these 4 indrawing seas, which divide the north, and the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole. That is to say 8 degrees altogether, except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. And it was far from just one cartographer. Chinese, Japanese, the world over were showing us the same. These cartographers at the time, jobs and reputations depended on their accuracy. They weren't just going to repeat something unverified for centuries. There has been many detailed lands in this realm that have been erased, not just the North Pole, but places like Frisland. But what do you think, signs of a reset or cartographers copying each other? Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Frisland? I never heard about that. We gotta dive into that. Maybe they meant Finland, but Frisland? That might be completely different. Alright, I found some stuff on Frisland. Let's see them break it down.
Suddenly, sometime around the mid-1600s, the Great Lakes appear out of nowhere, and California is now an island that ships can sail completely around. How did that happen? From 1650 up until around 1810, the Great Lakes are consistently shown. One thing that really stands out is that Cannabis was clearly there right up until around 1810, as was California, an island. On the maps from 1810 and onwards, Lake Cannabis is nowhere to be found. The Great Salt Lake appears west of where Cannabis used to be. California is no longer an island, and maps are lacking any detail of the whole area. Something drastically changed the topography of the land. But what? When we look at Africa, we see the exact same thing as the southwest U.S. This time, an elongated blemish with a bulging southeast side. Also with major geological desert and destruction to its southwest. But before 1660, it was Lake Zembre on every map. Lake Zembre is always right there, due west of the northern tip of Madagascar, just southwest of Lake Victoria. Need more proof? All that's left of it today is a huge dry scar on the African continent.
Alright, here we go. Frisland. This is what I've been waiting for. But the Great Lakes, that's interesting too, man. So if you guys know what happened, let me know. Drop in the comments below.
Mercator Arctic map shows an enormous island called Frisland, due west of Iceland, just south of Greenland's southwest indent. It had 6 major cities, 3 small towns, and its own coastal island chain, and a partridge and a pear tree. It was so important to the region that Mercator gave Frisland its own blow-up in the upper map corner. Van Dodecam put Frisland on his 1605 map. Same place, same shape, same name. Plancius put it on his 1605 map. Tijode, 1593, Frisland. Google Earth, 2019, underwater. Due west of Iceland, just south of Greenland's southwest indent. Frisland. Mercator.
So what could have made Frisland get submerged is my question. What happened to Frisland, y'all? It got completely eviscerated off the map. What type of water pouring technology happened? It says Frisland is an island that appeared on virtually all the maps of the North Atlantic between 1560 and 1660s. You can even see the towns are named. What happened to it? All of a sudden they stopped appearing on the maps. Where is it? Is it still there, but they just not showing it on the map? This is truly a mystery. Look, it had mountains and hills. What is that though? Got like some type of serpent out there protecting it. It's got trees, it's got a town. Frisland. What happened to Frisland, y'all? This is a mystery.
Did you know that there's an island that vanished just off the coast of Great Britain? The island was called Frisland. Nobody knows what happened to this island, but it appears in maps from the 1600s. Here's what Wikipedia says about Frisland. Frisland is a phantom island that appeared virtually on all maps of the North Atlantic from 1500s. It also states that Frisland never existed. Cartographers believe that the island was real because of a map. Maps are artifacts, which are facts. So here's what a shipsman wrote about his encounter with this island. His name was Nicolo. Nicolo claimed that he began his journey from Venice to England in 1380. He wrote that his ship was blown off course and wrecked on an island named Frisland. After the shipwreck, he met an explorer named Zimini, who ruled the island. Zimini rescued Nicola and his crew and made him admiral of his fleet. Nicola attempted to invade Iceland and he was forced back. Nicola stated that they attacked several other islands after the invasion of Iceland. Nicola also claimed he travelled to Greenland and discovered a monastery with central heating. Nicola asked Antony to join him in Frisland. Antony complied and the brothers served in Zimini's military campaign for 14 years. So here we are. This place even had its own military. The second part consists of the letter written by Antony. He wrote that they experienced dangerous encounters with cannibals and wild animals during their travels. The stories by the fishermen inspired discovered the island. The depiction of Frisland varies in maps. In between Greenland and the United Kingdom, it comes in different shapes, closer to Greenland, sometimes further away. So there we are, the mainstream narrative again denying its existence, whereas maps actually show that there was an island present. And I wonder what could be underwater.
What could be underwater, man? What type of artifacts? They got an entire land. We need to LiDAR that entire area and see what's really there.
That is my mind.
They said a Viking graveyard. How crazy is that?
Countries that no longer exist. Frisland. So Frisland was exist in the year 10 and was destroyed in the year 735. And later in 1101, the country was back, but the name was Frisia. And in 1526 it was destroyed again. And now it's a...
Do you know why this phantom island appeared on maps for centuries? Frisland and its accompanying towns and outer islands appeared on notable maps between 1558 through the mid-18th century. The origin comes from the Zeno map, created by Nicolo Zeno based on a journey his ancestors Antonio and Nicolo, a different one, took around the year 1400. Allegedly, the two brothers spent many years traveling to these and other phantom islands. If you want to hear more about the Zeno brothers' journey, be sure to like and follow.
Nah, that's crazy. This has to be AI, guys. Drop your thoughts below. Look at these different. This is nuts. This is like he got a brain inside. Only 4 digits. This looks like Yoda's granddaddy. No neck with giant arms, depicting giants possibly. But what makes me think this entire thing is possibly AI is look at the rocks at the bottom. You see that, how it goes in and out? I'm telling you, it's getting better and better. Pretty soon we ain't gonna be able to tell, y'all. But it's like we fighting the agents in the Matrix right now. We got to be able to spot the agents. Better lock in and buckle up, bucko, and keep your head on a straight swivel.
St. John the Divine. This is in New York City. Look at when they're going to tell you was. This is the St. John's Cathedral. St. John the Divine. This is in New York City. Look at when they're going to tell you was built. 1892. And then they got their occult priestess. They go and make up this BS. Work continued until 1911. There was no work that was continued. Delete this. Once they find the building, the next thing they got to do is implement them. Here's Cram and Ferguson. Cram and Ferguson ain't do shit. Y'all ain't do nothing. Construction began in 1892. And then what? What is this? 1892, 8. And what, damn near 20 years later, the building was completed and done already. What was y'all continuing on? Nothing. That's what they do. They'll put scaffolding on this building and have guys work there so they can put down, we renovated. They didn't do shit. And then they put this. In the popular Byzantine Romanesque architecture, it's Tartarian. Ain't no Byzantine, Romanesque, Victorian, none of that. It's Tartarian. Wait till we get to the good part. Take a look. Look at this building. Look at that. They want to tell you in 1892, they constructed that perfect building with perfect sacred geometry, with those arches and all that. With that beautiful glass sacred geometry window and all that. In 1892. With no aerial lift, no power tools, and no trucks. Stop. Then they went inside and they did this. Look at the ceiling. Look at that. I've shown y'all this. Y'all done seen this before in my videos. Y'all seen this before. Take a look at that. 100% Tartarian. Y'all know what Tartarian 1892? Y'all was doing this with what lasers? This is all perfect. This is the perfect. See, what they don't understand is these buildings are built with the perfect phi ratio. They can't resonate without the perfect phi ratio. Any engineer knows in order for something to resonate or everything to work, everything has got to be gapped a certain way. Even your spark plugs in your car. If your spark plugs aren't gapped right, your car will misfire. All of these cathedrals are perfect. Why? So that they don't misfire. Let's keep it going. 1892. Look at that. Look at these columns. Look at how high they are. Look at the intricate work. Look at the glass work. Look at the symmetry. Are you kidding me right now? This is Tartarian. Y'all didn't make nothing. You didn't touch this building. You had nothing to do with it. This building is the perfect golden phi ratio. You didn't touch this building with your sad, pathetic, primitive hands. Look at this shit. This is on the outside of this building. In 1892, somebody carved the World Trade Center on here. In 1890, water crashing down and knocking everything over in New York. Look at that. That's New York. But this is the important part. PCs are going to come and they're going to say, oh, they added this afterwards and we renovated and we... Look beneath it. Look right here. Those are Tartarian. Look at the people. There's some people working under here, right? And then right beneath that, Tartarian buildings. Why would you have Tartarian buildings? Look at that. Look at that cathedral-like top right there. This is telling you that underneath New York City is a Tartarian city. And they can't tell you, oh, they added this on afterwards. Oh, they added this on and what? They put a Tartarian city beneath it? And one more thing. Look at this. This is one piece. You ain't adding nothing on or adding nothing. Look, it goes from here to the top. That's one piece. This is one piece. You see these waves? This is one solid piece of stone. Wasn't renovated. Nothing was added. This was done in 1892. Point blank, period. I'm sorry, but is that the Brooklyn Bridge up there? I think that's the Brooklyn Bridge. And it looks like there's a car that came through the Brooklyn Bridge, is crashing down, and in the back, the same thing. We got water waves. Look at the people underneath. Look. Look. Remember, this is one solid piece of stone. This is 1892. No power tools. This one right here looks like the music industry. There's music, there's people around it. Look at these people that are underneath. It's like the music industry, and they're like on top of these people. Look at all this information in here. They were trying to tell us something. They were trying to tell us something. We have to read into what they were trying to tell us. This was carved in 1892, no matter what nobody tells you. And you got this one here. Just skulls. bones. But then look beneath it. Looks like angel wings, or I can't necessarily depict what that is. But again, this was carved in 1892, one solid piece of stone. The statue on top, same. There's statues on top. One solid piece. One solid piece. Ain't no renovating. Ain't no white NPCs gonna sit there and talk about how, oh, we touched it up and no. Y'all ain't touch up nothing. This was all done in 1892, point blank period. So the images I just showed y'all, all of them have these statues above them. One solid piece. Now you have to ask yourself, how is it in 1892 the Tartarians knew, one, we were going to build this building. Two, a wave is coming at some point to put this city underwater. It's coming. They showed you the movies multiple times. How many images in your head have you seen New York City underwater? Somebody knows something. And the somebody that knows literally built a Tartarian city underneath New York City. There's a Tartarian city underneath our city. And a wave is coming to reveal the truth.
What's that famous psychic? I can't think of his name right now. But a famous psychic did say a giant wave was coming. What was it? Edgar Casey, I think. I think it was Edgar Casey said something about a giant wave is coming. Drop y'all thoughts below, man. How did they make this? How did they know this was going to happen, y'all? And let's go back to those wings, he said. Here it is. Right here. If you look carefully, I couldn't tell you, man. It looks like some type of seraphim, it looks like an angel. Or this one right here looks like a hawk with wings. This one looks like a bull with wings. And this has a human face. So I'm definitely getting some type of cherubim angel vibes and some giant skulls on top. This is crazy. Where is this at? Where is this located so we can see this, is my question. We have to analyze everything. Put everything under the microscope. Try to reverse engineer everything. As far as New York, a Tartarian civilization being under New York, we all know about the underground tunnels, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a whole entire network under New York. Drop y'all thoughts below.
Remember when I told y'all about the Brooklyn Bridge? This structure here that I told you they didn't build, right? Well, when I told you they didn't build this structure, I need y'all to understand. You see this piece right here? And you see all of this? That's what they did. That's what they attached to the structure. This structure here, they did not touch, they didn't have anything to do with that structure. I'm going to tell you exactly what this structure was for. And it wasn't for that. And I'm going to tell you how I know they didn't build this bridge is because they discovered a bunker in 2006. Now remember, this bridge was supposedly built in 1900, some 100 years ago, right? They built this bridge. But somehow in 2006, like 100 years later, they're just now finding out that there's a bunker inside. Now, is there a bunker inside of this? There's not a bunker. It's simply a Tartarian structure, and you know this thing, it goes all the way down into the ground, like all the rest of the structures do. But in order to explain that away, they tell you there's a bunker in it. But at the same time, what are they admitting? Y'all didn't build this. You know you didn't build this, because if you did build this, you'd have the blueprints for it, and you wouldn't have had to discover that there's a bunker in something that you built. Let's keep it moving. A Cold War bunker was discovered in Brooklyn Bridge in 2006 during a routine structural inspection. Discovered the bunker while inspecting the bridge's masonry foundations. Y'all ain't even know it was there. If you didn't know it was there, you know damn well you didn't build it. Okay, let's keep it moving, shall we? This is what the bunker looked like. Look, archway, look, archway. Y'all already know. Y'all already know who built this. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'ma have the receipts. Like, I don't even know why they lying at this point. Come on, you see the brick and y'all ain't even know it was there. Come on, you know what year, you know when they said they built the bridge. Meaning whenever they said they built it and it was already there, that means it was probably there 50, 60, 100 years before they even said they built it there. You got to keep that in mind too. We can't go with, oh, the New York City subway was done in 1904, so we built it in 1900. No. That means it was there in the 1800s and the 1700s, because y'all ain't built it. Just like y'all ain't built the Brooklyn Bridge, because y'all ain't even know this was there. Some of y'all want to know how the bridge actually worked. That brick structure that you saw was just like these things. Literally. It was for a Bifrost. It was for a Bifrost. You have to open your mind up so that you can understand that the world we have now, they stripped it of magic. They had the magic then. That's why you see things like this. That's why you don't understand it, but for your entire life you heard about a rainbow bridge, but you've never put the connection together. That is the Bifrost. That is what they used. There was a light beam going through the arch. So basically this right here would have been the Bifrost. That would have basically been coming through the archways on the bridge.
I'm with you. It sounds cool and all, but why you gotta throw up that sign? That's my thing. Why you gotta throw that up when you pointing? You just can't put your finger up and be like the Bifrost. I like Bifrost. I like Thor. It sounds cool. But why you gotta throw that up? Why?
These two archways. Beam one, beam of light. Activated by yours truly. Of course, they would have like a Tartarian Moor in there with a key or some kind of device to turn the Bifrost on and off. They put these things right in front of you. They have to, through the looking glass. Sometimes you just gotta put the pieces together. Sometimes they put these things right in your face and they just don't think you're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out though.
The Bifrost. How cool is that? That would be cool, you know? It's hard for me to envision it because we so far down the line and we so, lost in the system, but, I kind of see it. Drop your thoughts below.
It's also a little bit like the call that Neo is getting in the Matrix.
He said that this bed is from 1500.
This bed is from the 1500s? 1500s. This is solid wood.
Yeah. But they bought it, they bought the bed, they bought the statues and the sky apart.
And how do you carve color into the, like, I don't.
It's polymer. You know what polymer is?
No, I don't know what polymer is. Oh, a polymer.
Yeah. Polymer.
What is it?
A polymer.
From, I think from the shell from fish.
How old is this?
1,000 years old about.
This is 1,000 years old?
Yeah.
They did this 1,000 years ago. Yeah. Oh, that's better.
That artwork on that bed is insane. If we looked at the writings on this dresser right here, it looked Chinese or Japanese that they found this. But why would you put like those faces on there? Like, look at these faces. Like, if I were to own something like this, I wouldn't say put these faces on there. Put like a lion or a tiger, you know, a peacock. I don't know, anything but, you know, these creepy faces all on that. Who wants to be stretched out, like, you know, looking at that? Then they mouth start moving at night and their eyes start blinking. Oh no.
Just to let you know, they stole our entire realm, killed off all the creatures, and lied to us about it. Now I'm going to show you some things. You're a human being, you have eyes, you have a brain. Use your discernment. A lot of you have seen and loved and had a thing for dragons your entire life. And deep down, you know for a fact they existed. But with your history books and how much you've been lied to, it almost seems like it's a fable. Does it not? Stay tuned, because we're about to find out exactly where our dragons are. What does that look like? Just looks like a rock, right? It's just a rock. It's nothing special, just a rock. Or is that a petrified dragon? Man, more of these odd-shaped rocks. Or is that a petrified dragon? Hey, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Or maybe that's a petrified dragon? Because what do you think this looks like? Look at that. What do you think that is? Like, what do you think this is? Look at this structure, right? I want y'all to be smart. I'm trying to make you as intelligent as possible so you can see this realm for what it truly is. Look at that. Look at the whole area around it, right? And then out of nowhere, it's... What is this? Again, can anybody... Are these more rocks? Are these rocks? Or...
They look like scales. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like scales.
Did a dragon fall here and was petrified over time? Do those look like... You're not sure. You're not sure, are you? Hold on a second. Does this help? Skin cells under a microscope. Man walking on skin cells. Look at the size of those. Look at that. Unless, I don't know, come on, man. Y'all, you know, the white NPC geologists, you know, they're going to tell you the rock formation, water came and it made those rocks look like... Look at that. You're wondering where your dragons are. They're petrified, and you're walking on them. Look. What does that look like to you? What does this look like? Look. You're just walking. And walking on this dead, petrified dragon, and I have absolutely no clue. Yeah, exactly. Just taking a walk on dragon meat. Doo-da, doo-da. Taking a walk on dragon meat. Oh, doo-da day. Where are the dragons under your damn feet? Pay attention. Oh, this is gonna get better. You know it's gonna get better. Oh, looks like some petrified dragon meat. I guess he's gonna cut that out and do something with it. You probably, what do you think? That you think that's just rock, right? Right? I know how bad you want to unexplain this. I know you want to be like, oh man, he's reaching. Am I really? Oh, stay tuned. Boom. What does that look like to you? What does that look like? That doesn't look like, that don't look like meat.
That looks like straight bacon.
That don't, what do you just think that's a rock? Okay, I'll keep going. Where'd all the dragons go? Where did they go? They were petrified into crystal. And now we sell them as antiques. Human mind is so fickle.
This dude is hilarious. Shout out to I am Damian Michaels, man. He said fickle. And he mentioned fable in the other video. He said this is a fable. Who says that? This guy. Oh my God.
I just thought I'd give y'all a close-up. Just in case, you know, you're gonna share the video and be like, man, he's off his rocker. He's talking about we're walking on petrified dragon remains, and I think he's out of his. What does that look like to you? You're hungry right now. You are, because you want to put that in a pan. You know exactly what that looks like. It's a slab. A slab of petrified dragon remains. It's gonna get better. Sit right there. Just in case, you know, you were still being a little skeptical, like, no, it's a rock with a. Does that look like a rock?
You know, the crazy part about all this looking like meat and dragons, I believe there's a verse that says we should eat the Leviathan, literally. And it says, thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan into pieces and gavest him into meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to eat the Leviathan or not, but that's what it says. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that all these petrified rocks resemble meat, and then we got scripture on it that they said this 1,000 years ago, kind of is lining up, if you ask me. Drop your thoughts below.
You want to sear them, don't you? Look at that. You keep wondering where your dragons are. Everything's right in front of you once you have the eyes. What does that look like? If I didn't already tell you what this video was about and I posted that, you'd be thinking, man, why is he making a video about a bunch of chopped up meat? Correct? Look at it. Look at the surrounding area. Be smart. And then look at it. Don't sit there and tell me, well, yeah, you know, the rocks in that area just formed into, what, meat-looking rocks? Wake up, people. Oh, I got more. We're going to become educated on petrified dragons today. You see that skin cells flaking off. Look at the skin surface right here. Do you see this? Do you see these formations? You see this, right? You see all of this? You see that, right? Remember that? I just showed you that. Remember the little fat layer, then it was that, right? Wait till you see the next clip. Look, anatomy of the epidermis. You see that, right? You see it? Okay. What do you think this is? What do you think that is? I'm not even going to say anything this time. You go ahead, use your own discernment. I know. What are they going to say? Yeah, the rock, the water came and it created this different kind of, what, epidermis? And the rocks? Let me cap this off real quick. If we just took out this part right here and I just showed you that, what would you do? You would slap some garlic, pepper, onions on that, and you would smoke it, would you not? Boom. What does that look like? It's petrified dragon meat. You want me to show you where our dragons are? I'm going to show you right now. It's going to disgust you. Our dragons are in our living room. Yeah, they were petrified in the earth and we took them out and we made furniture out of them. Pretty much. Yeah. Dragon. Petrified. Dragon. Unless you have another explanation for this, what does that look like to you? Dragons have always been here. All kind of majestic creatures were here. Do you think we were just creative enough to make these things up because human beings are just so creative and innovative? I doubt that very, very much. And judging by what you've seen today, you tell me. I need to buy a spectrometer so that I can go and take a chunk of this, put it in a spectrometer, and see what kind of DNA I get. Because that quote-unquote rock used to be organic. Good night, TikTok.
You know, he gives off this creepy vibe, but not a lie was told, man. It's you got to keep one eye open around him. But not one lie was told, man. Oh my God.
So these are made out of pure marble. The security guard said that the marble came from Italy and some marble came from Georgia. So if you do the research of this place, you're gonna find that there was a fire, like there always is in 1916. There was some mysterious fire. And these are all different, by the way. And these are all solid marble, made out of solid pieces of solid marble. By the way. And, yeah, this is, you know, this place was completed. Let's just take a look here. This place was completed. Look at this. This place was completed in 1925. It was started in like 1916, 1917. Do the research. And then, in 9 years later, 9 years later, it's just 9 years later, this is complete.
So, yeah, I'm here because, you know, I have to see it for myself.
Cathedrals are absolutely beautiful. I can't name a more beautiful spot, you know, from something created by man. If it was created by man and not, you know, the fallen angels. You know, those cathedrals, they go way too hard. Drop your thoughts below.
Operation Highjump. We need to get into this because they lied to us about everything, including what they were doing there. See, what they ran into in Antarctica was they ran into an opposition. That's why they immediately needed a lot of military help. That's what Operation Highjump was about. And we're going to get into exactly why they call it Operation Highjump. Because they are trying to high-jump their ass up out of here. Operation Highjump was a 1946-47 expedition to Antarctica that involved the following events. Check that out. It involved 13 ships. 13 ships? Think about that. 13 naval ships. 25 aircraft. 4,700 men. What did y'all need 13 ships, 25 aircraft, and 4,700 men for? Operation Look. Establish a functional base at Little America, quote unquote. And for weather stations. Why would you need weather stations where it's freezing cold? For what? Operation for mapping. If there's nothing there, what are you mapping? Deployed over 4,000 men, 13 naval ships, right? To test the ability of military operations in the polar environment? You mean to tell me y'all sent 13 naval ships, 25 aircraft, 4,700 men to Antarctica to just test stuff in the cold? We got Alaska for that. You could have did that in Siberia. You could have did that in Greenland. You could have did that anywhere. But that's an excuse. Because when they went to Antarctica, they needed those naval ships, they needed those aircraft, because they were running into these. Because they were trying to escape someplace and get into another place where whoever was there did not want them there. Otherwise, why would y'all need fighter planes in Antarctica? Fighter planes in Antarctica. Planes that shoot, not planes that take pictures, planes that shoot. Because you're fighting something. These people right here, these secret Jesuit people, all these Newton physicists and all these other NPCs. These are the reasons why you think you're on a globe. It's because of these individuals. The truth of the matter is, if this is the only picture you have of your globe, you should be questioning it. And never, ever, ever in history has anyone ever recorded anything leaving the ground here in Earth, going all the way out into space, and then looking back and seeing anything that resembles this. Never, ever, ever. Anytime you even see a video, it's a rocket, the rocket goes up, 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 then the rocket just hits something and comes right back down. It hits something. Take a look at this rocket.
As we see here in Eastern cosmology, the firmament is a celestial barrier that separated the heavenly waters above from the earth below. The firmament is the vast solid dome created by God during Genesis to separate the primal sea into upper and lower portions so that the dry land could appear. Look, you got the ocean, you got earth, you have the firmament, and then you have the sea above it. Notice how the ocean is blue and the sky is blue. As above, so below. Let's see what the Simpsons have to say about that.
Knock one out of the park. We're back. It's a long fly ball going back. And the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium. Now, we'll be right back after this word from oxygen, which Homer desperately needs to live.
Okay, does somebody want to tell me why the Simpsons did this whole entire scene, and it could have went a multitude of ways? He could have just hit the ball out forever. The ball could have hit a star and bounced off, right? It could have hit the sky and just cracked it, right? No, it hits the celestial barrier. Water comes crashing down, but it's not just water. It's the ocean, the sea ocean. Oh, here comes the ocean coming down. There's sharks, there's whales in there, ocean life. This scene could have went a multitude of ways, but it didn't. They had to show him hitting the celestial barrier and the ocean coming down. As above, so below. They put it right in your face. This right here is where we are. That's our Earth. That's our ice wall. That's where we are. That's why they claim we're on a globe, but we're not on a globe. We're on this landmass surrounded by ice. This is what Operation Highjump is all about. Highjump. They want to get up here and they want to escape here.
Damn. That makes sense. Did you see that? I'm gonna let him finish, but look at this. If we take it back just a little bit. Damn. All these different realms. That is insane. So when we say that there's a firmament over this entire realm. And then you just got these different ice wall barriers before you get to each one. So it's lining up how you would need a submersible and something that could fly. So you can probably go under the ice and then over it. Under the ice, over it. Under the ice, over it, you know? And some of them may be bigger than this. This is just a great explanation.
This is what Operation Highjump is all about. Highjump. They want to get up here and they want to escape here. Here is where there's a dome. There's a dome covering this whole entire thing. A firmament, a celestial barrier. That's why this organization came up with this treaty. And if you notice, this treaty right here is designed to keep us out because they don't want us to find out about the other continents or the other land masses that exist outside of our own landmass. So just trust and know there's a lot that goes on beyond that ice wall in Antarctica than they're telling you. Because they're out there battling a war because they are trying to basically escape this realm or escape this firmament. That's what NASA is for. That's why they make rocket ships. That's why they make them big and strong. They're trying to blast through the celestial barrier. Now, we may not have all the pieces, but trust and believe, we're gonna figure it out.
So basically what he's saying is that there's a firmament protecting each little earth pond, is my guess. There's a firmament over this. But that means those spacecrafts can get through it, or they had to get under it. I don't know, y'all. Y'all drop y'all thoughts below. That's wild.
Oh, I got their ass now. Check this out. Your entire life, you've been wondering, especially now. After they got rid of those airships, they implemented these, right? These are airplanes, okay? Now, I'm going to say this with my chest, and I'm going to stick by this no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. These right here run on air. I'm going to show it, and I'm going to prove it to you, because it's a big, like, ruse, deception that they put over your eyes, and I'm going to show you. Now, look, this is an airplane. These are most commercial liners. You ask any pilot, you ask any of these people, any of them, they could be watching this right now. They're going to tell you the fuel is in the wings. They're going to tell you it's in the wings. You heard your entire life. You see it here. You can look on diagrams. You can look on their little blueprints. Fuel is in the wings. First of all, if you're an engineer, why would you put the fuel in the wings? Now, they're going to tell you some bullshit like, oh, to balance the plane so that you're not going to put the fuel in the wings. You're not going to put the fuel in the wings because there's too many components. You know how many flaps and things that are inside of these wings? I'm about to show y'all right now. Look. So as you can see, there's a problem here. You got a lot of components in this wing. And as you can see here, this is a breakdown from the Britannica that actually admits, and I will show you, that there are no fuel tanks here. You look at the whole brain, take a look at that. Y'all can freeze frame and do what y'all want to do. This is not my fault. They messed up, and I'm going to show you. First of all, let's just remember, they want to tell you that the fuel is in the wings. And they want to tell you it's in there to balance the plane. Look at the wings. Look at the wings, okay? Who is putting the fuel in there? Let me show you how much fuel goes into these planes and how much they're telling you is in there. According to the Airbus A380 specifications, each wing can hold 38,569 gallons. 38,000, yes, I said that correctly. 38 goddamn 1,500. Are you fucking kidding me? In the wings? Whose idea was, yo, let's let's make sure we make a space in the wings for all of this highly flammable jet fuel. That's a great engineering idea. Come on. Look, this jet refueler has a 10,000 gallon capacity. Look, that has a 10,000 gallon capacity. But they want to tell you that this has a specification that inside the wings, it can fit 3 times the... Why y'all playing with me, man? According to the official narrative, the Airbus A380 has a capacity for 120 tons of fuel in each wing. Look at those wings. Why did we even let them fool us into thinking that this was legitimate? You have got to be kidding me. If you look at this structure right here, you're going to want this to be as light, strong, and as light as possible, just like a bird's wing. You don't want anything in here. Definitely not tons of fuel, okay? If you did have fuel, you put it on the back end belly of this here. There would be nowhere else to put the fuel at. So I don't even know why they even tried to lie and say there was fuel in there. We're going to blow this. At 38,569 gallons, this is basically the calculation right there. The estimated weight is 116 tons. That's 20 adult elephants on each wing. Who's engineering a plane so that it has 20? Come on, man. Come on, man. This is the Concorde. Where were 100 tons of fuel stored in the Concorde? That's the specification. Oh, they're going to tell you that. Yeah. 100 wings. This is the Concorde. Fastest plane ever built. Look at it. Breaks the sound barrier. Look at it. You think you're going to put some highly flammable, just think, you're going to put the highly flammable substance in the one part of the plane that takes the most part of the stress, which is the wings. It needs to be the thinnest and strongest. Did nobody think about this? Come on, man. Yeah, I know y'all waking up now. This is basically a turbine engine. And basically what it does is it sucks air in, like a turbo. It sucks air in. And when it sucks the air in, you see those big fans as they get smaller and tight? It sucks the air in and then it starts to compress it. And then it gets to here and it compresses it more and it shoots it out. That creates compression. It does the same thing up here. These are compressed air engines. Basically, the plane runs on air. It just sucks the air out the front. The only thing the plane may need some fuel for is takeoff. That's why when the plane does take off, you hear like a tiny little bit of turbulence, like shh, like a rocket a little bit. And then after that, the plane just takes off and you hear absolutely nothing. Sound. Because the plane is now sucking in and taking on air. It is not running on fuel. That is complete bullshit. This is the inside of a wing. Take a look. There's no section in there for fuel. You wouldn't put a section in there for fuel, so there isn't one. That's what it looks like when you open a plane wing. This is another one right here. Look at that. Look, you see the piece of the plane? You see that? That's like a cross section. Like I just came like Magneto. Cut it right in half. Take a look. Where would you put the fuel in there? Where would you put these tons of fuel they telling us stored in the wings? There's no fuel in there, man. It's ran on air. Think about it. Like, doesn't it make more sense? Big, huge air turbines, they suck in the air and they propulsion, just pull the plane forward. That's why the plane's mad silent while you're going through the air. You ever notice, look at how big the plane is. Plane is like, 2-3 planes might make up a rocket. Look at how much fuel a rocket burns just to go all the way up in the air and how much flames it gives off. You're telling me a plane's just going to be taking off as big as it is and it's not giving off no flames or doing nothing like a rocket, but it's burning fuel like that? Nobody thought about that? The rocket burning fuel, you see that. Plane ain't burning nothing. Watch this. So as you can see, that plane took off nice, smooth, no burn, no after, no fire, no nothing. It's a big, huge plane taking off. Supposed to be burning mad fuel. Nothing. What did you see? Air. Now let's take a look at the stress test because I did one more thought that they weren't going to figure out. I said to myself, they do stress tests on these planes, right? So when they do the stress tests on these planes, I'm pretty sure if they're putting fuel in the wings, they're going to put some kind of liquid or fuel in the wing when they stress test it, right? Let's take a look. No liquid. So let's just keep it a buck. If that was their stress test, they didn't even put any liquid in the wing. Where are those tons and gallons of liquid that you put in there to test it so that you can see how it will react in real time with all that fuel in it? But come on, man. Airplanes fly on compressed air. Jet engine is a free energy machine. Now you know.
The jet fuel hoax. Airplanes fly on compressed air. The jet engine is a free energy machine. Damn. It is impossible for the wings to hold that type of liquid. Man, did y'all know this? I did not know this. The whole time I'm thinking the jet fuel is just in there. Like he said, they might just need a little bit for takeoff. But after that, you don't need it. Drop y'all thoughts below. Am I tripping? But this seems valuable, man. I thought maybe they was harnessing the ether, but no, they're just using the air turbines to keep it going. Wow. So plane tickets should be like $10 or something, man.
So we're going to do what we can and then post it later. But we do want to show you some of this stuff. This is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us.
in the
so
wing
we're really happy to see it. We are in, as you can see, it's not one big open fuel tank. You want to look down here. You can see that the fuel tanks are actually divided by walls. This keeps the fuel from draining to one side or the other.
You put fuel liquid in there, and these aren't rounded.
And then, of course, each fuel tank is actually almost completely separated. And there's a series of pumps and hoses that helps distribute the fuel during flight.
Does it even look like liquid was floating in there?
And also between the fuel tanks to make sure that the flight stays balanced. In fact, I remember when we brought the plane over, we kept fuel in it just because the plane is so efficient. Fuel's really needed for ballast, and so we kept some of the fuel in it and drained it when we finally got over here to make sure it came over smoothly when we were taxiing.
Oh yeah, keep explaining how fuel is in the wings.
We're gonna head out, but before we do that, I wanted to show a few things off. So I'm gonna ask if Austin can bring the camera over here. So this is the wall. They're doing some work upstairs. This is the wall to the fuselage fuel tank. So that's
Does that look like fluid has been in there,
and then
floating around?
It up here. You notice those two
wires?
darker nuts and bolts that are coming out. That is
y'all got wires going through the fuel tank,
holding up our wing walk. So you can see how they actually use holes for that were already in the aircraft to then use them to support the wing walk. So we're going to go ahead now and make our way out through this kind of labyrinth to where we came. I'm going to grab the light so we don't leave it in here.
Come on, man. Stop it. Y'all don't put no fuel. Look.
And our tour guide that you'll see in front of us, this is
there's supposed to be fuel in there.
Rembez,
Look at these boxes.
with Delta Tech Ops. He's been one of the guys working on the wing walk.
They want to convince you that fuel was in here. Fuel. You made a fuel tank, and you made it square, and you made it boxy for fuel to be sloshing around in here. Does it even make sense? Does it look like those were for... What engineer is going to make that so that that's inside the wing, floating with fuel? Look, these are wires. Any spark can happen and blow the entire plane up. This is inside the wing that they want to believe they're refueling. Wires. Inside the fuel tank. Wires. Wires. Floating in jet fuel. Come on, man. Now we're going to take a look at a guy refueling a plane wing. I want y'all to pay close attention to the angle. First off, he's hooking this up. Look at that. It's not even open wide, and you'd think that'd be open. because they're supposed to be pumping 12,000 gallons of fuel in here, or 12,000 pounds of fuel. That is supposedly connecting underneath this wing to that. Now you see the attachment. How is fuel, gallons of fuel, flowing through that? Gallons.
This dead man, fuel is getting pumped into the plane. As you can see on the gauge, our target is 12,100 pounds. Once the top number hits 12,000 pounds, I will let go of the dead man, and fuel will continue to enter the plane and it will stop around 12,100 pounds. And that's it.
12,100
When fueling
pounds.
is complete, the equipment is safely disconnected.
So you're going to tell me that this guy right here just took this hose right here. Look at that, almost looks like an electrical. Look at that. Why isn't that wide open? You telling me he just took that and connected this, whatever that is, to this, and pumped in 12,000 gallons of liquid through that attachment? Are we really that stupid? Guys, just look at that. Just look at that for a second. And then let's ask ourselves something. Who is going to take a liquid that you're pumping and go underneath the plane and pump it up into the wing? This is the wing that we know ain't no fuel in. But somehow they just took that device and they pumped 12,000 pounds of liquid in there. Now let me ask you a question, right? Because they're not using, they're trying not to use liters and then trying not to use gallons. They want to say they want to use pounds. What if the fuelers don't even know that it's not fuel, but it's compressed air? And that's why it's being put in there by the pound. Because why would you go underneath the plane against gravity? If you're going to put liquid in something, are you going to make it so that you have to go up underneath so that you're going against gravity? Does that even make sense? And the attachment. Look at the attachment. You can already see how small this is, but how is 12,000 gallons of fuel coming through there? They didn't think we would think or even ask these questions. So is it true a 747 fuel capacity is 63,500 gallons and burns a gallon a second, as that is the equivalent of 8 tankers of fuel? Look at the pilot. Close to it, yeah. Has a total fuel capacity of 203,000, which is 66,000 gallons. Capacity is about 75,000 gallons. This only holds 10,000. None of this shit makes any sense. I'm only saying, you know, if you guys are telling me you guys are putting 38,000 gallons of fuel in the tankers, but in the planes, but the tankers only have 10,000 in there, that means every time a plane lands at an airport, there should be at least 3 to 4 tankers pulling up, and they should be unloading and emptying mad fuel into that plane. Oh, and by the way, we cannot forget, all of that fuel is stored in the wings. The wings. Although, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, modern passenger jets don't have fuel tanks. Don't blame me. They're the ones trying to convince you that this guy is pumping 38,000 gallons of fuel into that wing. And you and I both know that's a little difficult with this hose and that tiny ass attachment. So let's not even go there. Let's not. I don't care if you're an engineer. I don't care if you fuel planes. I don't care what you do. You're not smart enough. These people who fuel the planes, they don't even know, because they would ask questions. Why would you even put a fitting underneath a plane wing to install liquid into it? Why is no one asking questions? Stop drinking tap water, please.
All my days. That's my boy, One Foul Vow. All my days. Oh my diddy. That didn't age well. Oh my diddy, but he used to hit that.
Okay, let me explain the trickery to you here. Have some kind of flame is coming out because they're heating up all this compressed air, right? You know what that means? Whatever air... Okay, let me explain the trickery to you here. Basically, what happens in a plane is this is designed to suck in air at a high rate and create like a turbo engine to basically suck in air here, pressurize it, and blow it out the back. That pushes the plane forward. The only thing this fuel injection atomizer is used for, tiny little spark of fuel in here, this will create thrust. When do we need that thrust? Takeoff. For 1% of the plane's functioning, takeoff. The whole rest of the ride is just sucking in compressed air and blowing it out the back. Watch this video. At the end, I'm gonna cap this together and show y'all, because what y'all don't realize is this system shows you that these afterburners are burning the whole time and fire is coming out the back, and it's not. That's why when you're on a commercial airliner and you're looking at these, you don't see any fire coming out the back. You see them on jet fighter planes, don't you? Why? Because they are thrusting and using fuel the entire time.
We will explain the technology behind the jet engine in a logical, step-by-step manner. A jet engine keeps an aircraft moving forward using a very simple principle, the same that makes an air-filled balloon move. Yes, Newton's third law of motion. Just like the reaction force produced by the air moves the balloon, the reaction force produced by the high-speed jet at the tail of the jet engine makes it move forward. So the working of jet engine is all about producing a high-speed jet at the exit. The higher the speed of the jet, the greater the thrust force. The thrust force makes an aircraft move forward. Such high-speed exhaust is achieved by a combination of techniques. If you can heat the incoming air to a high temperature, it will expand tremendously and will create the high-velocity jet. For this purpose, a combustion chamber is used. An atomized form of the fuel is burnt in the combustion chamber. Effective combustion requires air to be at moderately high temperature and pressure. To bring the air to this condition, a set of compressor stages are used. The rotating blades of the compressor add energy to the fluid, and its temperature and pressure rise to a level.
I worked for Boeing for a long time on 737 and 747. I can't say that I ever seen a fuel cell. The way everything is riveted, high lock to fasten the various skins to structural framework, I don't see how there wouldn't be many small leaks. There would absolutely have to be a bladder. That's why I showed you that video of the guy inside the wing. Anybody with half a brain knows you would have to have some kind of enclosed bladder system for a flammable liquid. I seen first and had to seal certain areas myself, but the sealers they use would never in a million years hold up at every fastener location or skin lap. No way. There should be thousands of photos of fuel bladders for the millions of planes built over the decades. I can't find any.
This is a person who worked on these planes. No fuel bladder. No fuel bladders for any planes. And no, there isn't just fuel loaded into a wing with a bunch of rivets where it could just leak out at anywhere. You and I both know that. Maybe because planes don't actually use fuel. Compressed air engine technology. Here's the actual translation. There was no fuel in the system. Therefore, evidence that it crashed due to a lack of fuel. There was also no fuel in the APU. Therefore, strengthening our hypothesis. This is the autopsy of a plane wanted to try and excite it because it was out of fuel, but they found no fuel anywhere in the plane at all.
What you would see consistently coming out of the back of a plane if it was burning fuel the whole time. Like jet fighters. Hear that sound? Exactly. Now, I got one more thing to show y'all, because everybody's a skeptic, and I get it. They want to tell you they're combusting fuel consistently on a flight. This flame is coming out because they're heating up all this compressed air, right? You know what that means? Whatever air is coming out of the back of here, this burner, should be like 1800 degrees. It should be scorching hot. It shouldn't just be pressurized air, right? Because if I'm right, then a bunch of extremely high pressured air should be coming out of the back and not flames, correct? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. This car is in front of the engine. It's behind the engine. Look at what the engine is doing to it. The engine, it's so powerful, it just took the car and threw it. It just threw the car. Now, no flames. Now, do y'all realize in that video, that car sat there and let that plane just blow on it for like 5 to 8 seconds before it blew it away? Was that car being bombarded with high heat? Did the windows get melted off? Did you notice that the window was actually open? So the driver wasn't even worrying about high temperatures. Why? That engine is taking Jet A1 fuel, burning it, right? And it's blowing it out the back. So what happened just now? Because I'm sorry, but it just looked like a car got blown away with high pressure air. Y'all want to keep explaining and talking about fuel in these engines? You've been lied to. Okay? Do your research. You've been lied to. And if you even calculate how much fuel these planes need to use that they're claiming they use, you'd realize, yo, they're not using fuel. They're not. You'd have to be burning a gallon a second. Come on, man. One more time. No fire. Nothing burning out the back. But somehow this plane is producing a lot of power, enough power to throw a car across a football field. You seeing what I'm saying? When I tell y'all these motherfuckers use air as the fuel, listen to me. These are air turbine engines designed to suck air in, compress it, and blow it out the back. If you can prove me wrong, by all means, go ahead. F-14s, the jet fighters in the military, their afterburners are on consistently. They're using fuel. These are using air. That's why those ain't even called airplanes. They're called jet fighter planes for the jet fuel they use. These are called airplanes for the air fuel they use. Bye.
Man, I never knew this, man. I'm starting to think, what if the airships used this technology back in the day? What if they knew about how these airplanes use these air turbines and they slapped a couple on the side of a airship, not an airplane, an airship.
I assume the Hindenburg event was planned to show how dangerous this cheap mode of transportation was, so they could stop it. A lot of people don't realize or know that there was a false flag attack. Basically, sure the cameras are rolling and they make sure something happens to induce fear. The Hindenburg was an airship that basically on national TV, which I'm going to show you, on recording in like early 1900s, somehow, some way, they just so happened to catch the one and only airship ever. I mean, when y'all watch the video and y'all hear it, y'all just going like, y'all gotta have to listen to how it plays out. It's such a play. You could just tell they're acting. The guy, he's, oh, this is so sad, oh. And then that was it. They were like, yeah, we can't fly airships anymore. That one blew up. Meanwhile, because they filled it up with something that was flammable, because airships, then they don't even have anything in it like that can. This is how long airships were in operation. Round trip crossing the Atlantic, across America, 144 flights. Look at that. Airships were used by the military, used in war, used in intercontinental means from Europe to America to Africa for years. How many times did the Hindenburg fly before it blew? 63 times. This thing done flew 60 plus times before it blew. But they made one scheduled video recording and then canceled all the airships. That's like no car accidents at all, anything happening at all for years. And then one car crashes and catches on fire and they're just like, yeah, man, we ain't using no more cars. Recall all the cars, just cancel them. And this is how they did it. Because people don't realize, right? They realized early on that hydrogen was flammable, and so they switched to helium. What they did with the Hennigan was, though, they put hydrogen in it so that it was flammable, so that they could set it on. Now, I want y'all to take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
Again she dumps ballast, and a nervous tension grips those who are watching, for this is something unusual.
Real footage. And listen to the announcer as he's choreographing.
There goes more ballast, but the tale is settling in spite of all that has been dumped. A grim note of impending tragedy.
What is a grim note of impending tragedy? How are you building up something that's supposed to be a tragedy? Almost like you planned it to happen.
Finally, the landing lines are dropped. These scenes were filmed by Pathé News cameraman William Deek, and you are about to see the pictures.
Huh? What? Is that even... What? Let's back that up for a second.
Ship destroyed in less than half a minute.
How are you talking about the actual crash before it happens? Like, what? Now, I mean, y'all tell me, is this not like the fakest false flag of an airship you've ever seen? And they just so happen to catch this on camera? Come on now.
And he made a good point. It's like, if one car got into an accident, you got to take away all cars. Come on, man. What type of sense does that make?
1937. Come on now.
Rushing to the rescue, the heroes of the tragedy dash in, heedless of danger.
Tragedy. Like, come on now. So, I mean, really, if you think about it, what's the 1 in 10 million chance that out of all the 1,000 airships we have flying around that y'all just so happen to be filming at the exact moment that one of the famous intercontinental airships?
Yeah, guys, that's wild, man. It seemed like a setup to me. For entertainment purposes only, do your own research on everything. You need to dive into a little bit on airships. You know, a quick recap on airships for everyone who hasn't seen it. Knowing this, what we know now about this this airplane engine and how it can just be off the air, we were thinking it was off the ether. You know, maybe they were charging off the ether. No, but they might have had this air turbine going on the side of these airships, and that could have propelled it. Let me know your thoughts below, but let's check out these airships.
JetskiChucK show them the ancient airships. How they really moved them bricks.
What type of technology is this? It's bouncing with the frame. If we look at this airship, it is bouncing with this frame, so it's definitely authentic if you ask me. Yeah, this is a creepy and scary TikTok for real. Look how it's coming up out of... What is that? Are these guys using some type of chemical to make it so they can come through this portal? What are they doing here? Are they making like a false ice wall? This is hard to CGI, y'all. I'm riding with this. For entertainment purposes only, I'm riding with this. And if I'm riding with this, we gotta look at this plane creating some type of dimension fluid. So where is it coming from? And
so many of you confuse these airships with these dinky little blimps we have now. This was the construction of the Hindenburg. And a few cross sections to show you the massive size and scale behind me. These airships were massive, able to carry large amounts of crew, material, explore the North Pole, as you see here with the Norge, the first people to actually explore the North Pole. That is one of the big benefits over these airships from the fixed-wing aircraft we have today. Exploration, free and easy travel throughout this realm. You could set up these mooring stations here pretty much anywhere. And they were easily able to load and unload passengers right from the front hatch. Now I think these airships have been around a lot longer than they told us. Just looking at some of the detailed maps they had back then to what we have now. And now that we don't have that easy exploration option, the maps have drastically changed. It wasn't just amazing houseboats they were able to float down the rivers and waterways either. They were able to have these airships dock on boats as well. Like I said, mooring stations could be built anywhere. Could even have the airships just land on the water themselves. And I don't need the NPCs in the comments talking about, oh, they go boom and the Hindenburg, it went blown up, it's dangerous. And take a look at the Hindenburg itself. if you actually bother researching it. See how false flaggy that looked. Again, this is all just my personal opinions though. I just want you to question everything, friends. Until next time.
Wow, that was some great information. Shout out to the Dr. Generated for that information. That is huge. Game changer in my opinion. We can almost see something, create something to make this airship go through. This is not your average airship. We know that they had portals. They were working on portals to get all these buildings built. But using this definitely sheds new light. We're getting somewhere with this for sure. And he's coming through whatever he's spraying. You can almost see through it. Am I tripping? Because what are these little black things? But the technology, they're spraying something and they're able to come through what they're spraying. They knew this was going to happen because look how they're filming this. Whoever's filming this is in a plane. You can see the plane and, you know, they're like, all right, he's about to bust through this portal, this spray portal.
Many of you confuse these airships with these dinky little blimps we have now. This was the construction of the Hindenburg. And a few cross sections to show you the massive size and scale behind these. These airships were massive, able to carry large amounts of crew, material, explore the North Pole, as you see here with the Norge, the first people to actually explore the North Pole.
I know, I don't think they can go beyond the ice walls with these bad boys. Come on, y'all. All they gotta do is just stay in the air. And they're saying it's low fuel cost. They can make these stations anywhere. These boys was traveling with these. How come they don't have these stations everywhere? You know?
That is one of the big benefits over these airships from the fixed-wing aircraft we have today. Exploration, free and easy travel throughout this realm. You could set up these mooring stations here pretty much anywhere. And they were easily able to load and unload passengers right from the front hatch. Now I think these airships have been around a lot longer than they told us. Just looking at some of the detailed maps they had back then to what we have now.
And that's another good point. You know, if you look at all those different maps that we were getting now, they were able to take their time and survey it. Not really, you know, going by it 500 miles per hour because they got to keep the plane afloat. You know, you see all these hot air balloons. It wouldn't be that hard to design an airship that was safe, is all I'm saying. That's my opinion. And if you can design something that took its time and was safe, you can do some long distance travels. And it sounded like they had it pretty down packed. For entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. It sounded like they had it down packed. They had these stations they can pop up. Looked like they were air fueling on the top of these towers.
Now that we don't have that easy exploration option, the maps have drastically changed. It wasn't just amazing houseboats they were able to float down the rivers and waterways.
They had these giant houseboats. How cool is that? I know we got houseboats now, but you don't really see them like this. You know, it's always a yacht or something, you know? Let's craft some basic houseboats for people, you know?
Either. They were able to have these airships dock on boats as well. Like I said, mooring stations could be built anywhere. Could even have boats as well.
Look, they charging up with the ether. You know, what else is they getting charged up with, y'all? It's not. There's no way they can have that much gas. I'm sure they could have some type of fuel, but if you ask me, they getting charged up with ether, and they can make these stations by themselves. Oh my goodness, it's somebody's not telling the truth. You know, it's common sense.
Like I said, mooring stations could be built anywhere. Could even have the airships just land on the water themselves. And I don't need the NPCs in the comments talking about, oh, they go. Hey, take a look at the Hindenburg itself. If you actually bother researching it, see how false flaggy that looked.
That airship is massive. You could easily fit a lot of people in there, way more than a plane. I'd say like triple the amount. You know, safe travel for everyone. They probably was, those boys was probably free back in the day. You just had to wait in line.
Again, this is all just my personal opinions, though. I just want you to question.
Look, they landed on the water. They said, we don't need nothing. We'll just land on the water.
And everything, friends. Until next time.
And who knows how much weight these things could hold? You know, we talk about how all these buildings got built. Well, it might have been able to hold a little bit of weight, but I don't know. See, there they go, moving fast again. Hold on, let me go back. They said these are loading docks for the free energy. How cool is that? This could be the same system that the pyramids had. I seen where some people said that the UFOs landed on top of the pyramids. The pyramids getting charged up and beamed up from whatever, the mercury or whatever type of however they doing it, but they getting charged up and beamed up from them pyramids. They land on a pyramid, get charged up, move to the next one. You got pyramids all over the world. So look at them as Tesla charging stations for these even more advanced ships that they had probably back in the day. This was probably just them recreating it the best they can from the pyramids. They're like, oh, the pyramids had airships, you know, so they was like, let's try to do our little version. We could do them with the airships. Hey, it's working close enough for entertainment purposes only. We're getting somewhere. They tell you what it's called. Here, y'all can't see that. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure y'all see it. Hold on. Victory column compared to a standard morning mast. All right. I don't know if y'all can see this, but what it's saying, they're showing you how this is the blueprint. How come we're not doing this? All right. Let's see what I gotta do. I gotta make an airship. We're making an airship. We're going past the walls. We're making a giant airship. We're going to need this tower. We're going to need about 3 of these inside the airship so we can drop them on our journey to charge back up. We're going to need a lot of copper, and we're going to make it work, y'all. Just wait on it. It's coming. We're making an airship, and we're getting these charging stations all over, and it's going to be free. All of it's going to be free. You want to go to California to Florida? It might take you 10 hours, but it's going to be free. We're not in a rush. Safety is our main priority. You feel me? Hold the phone. Pinnacle. In Dutch language, pinnacle, which relates to docking station for airships. Oh, that's what pinnacle means. We hear pinnacle, gotta reach the pinnacle, the tippy top of the mountain. That's a docking. Oh, we got y'all. For entertainment purposes only. They're laughing at me. Nobody believes me. This is all for, we're all laughing. This is for entertainment purposes only. That's major validity pinnacle. Somebody look that up and give me confirmation in the comments. Those boys was copper. Oh no. They said the top of the pyramids used to be gold. But I would say the mainstream of transportation and back in the day, they was getting charged up by these boys, and it was these airships. That was their main way of transportation. They talking about the world fairs? Oh, y'all don't know about the world fairs? Oh my God. Hold on. Them boys had copper at the top. So they were using the ether from their fireplaces, and it was being double used as charging stations for these airships. Man, that's tight. How efficient as well too. Every home has a gas station, free Tesla charger. Hold on. Don't tell me he's dropping down material. Don't tell me that's what they doing. Oh my goodness. Is that how they did it? They're using these airships to portal across the world, and they're dropping materials. Wouldn't they crack if it was marble and all that? This is... Every time I do one of these, I just have more questions, y'all. It gets deeper and deeper on these dark waters, man. They definitely did that. Oh wow, we got y'all. We caught y'all red-handed. That's this, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to the Metro bus station, to the ancient technology. There it is. Get in line. Up, there'll be another airship in 30 minutes. You missed this one. Wait 30 minutes, there'll be another one to take you to France. Oh, you in Japan? You wanna go to Cali? Don't worry. The airship will be here in another 30 minutes. It's going to be a 24-hour flight. So sit tight. I hope you got your snacks. We land in Germany. What is this? Interesting. Guys, your thoughts below. If you ask me, that could have been the main source of travel back in the day. It looks like they had airplanes, so I don't know. This is gonna be a good one, y'all. I can feel it. Let's get back on these waters.
Macon, just a few of the many airships. Yep, the U.S. Navy had quite an extensive collection of airships. Meet the USS Los Angeles, Akron, and Macon. Just a few of the many airships in the U.S. Navy's arsenal back then. And there were even flying aircraft carriers capable of loading and launching squadrons of aircraft from their underbelly. It was.
How come they're not doing that now? That is such a good idea.
It wasn't just the Hindenburg that was the titan of the sky. These airships were quite commonly used. Even the Royal Air Force had their own fleet of airships. And that's just the ones they tell us about. Like I've said, it's the reason for the whited out skies in so many of these old world pictures. It's the reason why we have such detailed and accurate maps back then, especially of places like Antarctica.
I'm sorry, why is the sky white out though? Like on some Matrix type stuff? Did they had to reset it to get the sky back normal? What happened? Why is the sky white?
Long before Antarctica was supposedly even discovered. And then we have the true maps of the North Pole, which now we have nothing because we can't even go there. But the shots of these airships from the U.S., truly awesome, showing just...
They were definitely dropping materials.
the versatility of them, whether having aircraft or being able to land on a moving battleship. They were also well known for their water rescues, being able to launch boats right from the bottom of them as well. Of course, as I said in the previous video, there's many reasons why we don't have these anymore. I think none of them are because they're unsafe or dangerous. The little tin cans that we're packed into now, called aircraft, going only on the approved flight routes, or just the amount of cost savings it would take to operate one of these versus a regular airplane. Especially for exploration and surveillance. They can hide up in the clouds forever. Question everything, friends. Until next time. Tartaria was a civilization that spanned across this realm. You can see them here in this map from 1617. My fathers. Now officially, the mainstream narrative tells us they are nothing more than a placeholder by European cartographers who didn't know what lied beyond the West. There's where Russia would be, including Moscow. You see that? And here in an older encyclopedia, they even have their own country's flag. You can find the Tartarian symbol throughout many architectures across this realm of ours as well. There's a reason why here in this old article, the Okran Gazette, it was called the Great Wall of Tartary and not the Great Wall of China, built by the Tartarians to keep the Chinese out. It has so much amazing buried old world history, especially in the town of St. Augustine. This very nice urban spread here for a population of just over 4,000 at the time. And of course, that population needed such a big hotel. Sadly, the San Marcos, built in 1885, burned down in 1897, lasting just 12 years. But let's focus on Fort San Marcos. Said to be constructed by the Spanish in the 1600s. It is the oldest masonry fort in the continental United States. And I believe this was once a part of many forts in the area. Take a look at the Google Earth spot of it here. And right above it, see what looks like the destroyed and partially sunken ruins of a much bigger star fort system. Just look at all that man-made shaped coast there, especially in the top left. Looking a lot like those massive star cities that I've shown you in a lot of previous videos in Europe and other places. Also, fun fact about Old World, Florida, it's also home to Fort Jefferson, the largest brick masonry structure in the whole of North and South America, right in the middle of nowhere in the Gulf. But back to Fort San Marcos, not only the oldest fort, but it was also the first golf course in Florida. That's right, this town of 4,000 definitely needed a golf course and found no better place than right on top of these ruins. They, of course, built a golf course right next to it later on, and the National Park Service owns the land now, and that is a great way they stop us from digging up our true history. Why do you think the national parks own 80 million acres? The same reason we have almost 16,000 golf courses in the U.S., many of them subsidized by local governments to keep you from digging where you're not supposed to. The parasite's history is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
This was built by Morish Tartarian. And this was built
Oh, we've got your ass. We've got your ass now. This is the La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. And the people that said they built this, they didn't build it. This is what you call Morish Tartarian. So the mainstream narrative says they started building this before Nelson Mandela was alive. They said they started building this before Morgan Freeman was alive, before World War I and World War II. They're saying they started building this at the last reset in the 1800s. So you're trying to tell me this took 141 years to build and you still haven't finished it yet? There's still scaffolding on the roof, brother. So they like to say the original architect suddenly died halfway through. And they rely on funding every year to, no, listen, mate, don't lie. You haven't got the blueprints for this one. You don't know how to build it. Because look how ugly and mash up the building really is. This is what you call melted brick. This building was here before the mud flood. This building was there when the Moors ruled Spain. And when you look for construction photos, all you get is something like this. This don't look like a building site. This looks like a reset rescue mission. So no, you man didn't build that building. The Morish Tartarians did.
If you ask me, the Morish Tartarians knew they had some type of flying technology and they were dropping off pieces at a time. It was mass produced at one specific location by masters that had laser cutting technology. They had the resources, just all traveled to them, and they were using these aircrafts to transport the materials. That's how they were building them, and that's how they were getting around. You heard it here first with JetskiChucK. Drop in the comments below what you think. I used to speculate, man, they were going through portals, which with these Star Force, it could have been possible. There are some stuff that are called portals around, and they could have been giants that would help, lift and carry the things at the initial location. But if you ask me, my thoughts on it, it was these airships that was picking up these different materials they were pre-built homes. All these palaces and cathedrals, they were all pre-built. That's how you get them on all these crazy locations. Like there's a castle on a hill. How else could you get it there? It was these airships. All they had to do was make the foundation. When the foundation was set, like it said in the good book, make your foundation solid upon rock, I believe. Once they had that foundation laid, then they were able to handle these magnificent structures. Let's dive deeper into this. Oh, and this place looks Tartarian. Morish Tartarian.
Right here.
Man, look at that place. It is beautiful. These things.
Allora lo hanno fatto parecchio, a come erano le gente là, non erano nere, erano un po' scuri.
Non erano neri.
No, erano un po', ma questi con
Look at this place. Could this be one of the buildings the airship dropped? I mean, how could it? I definitely think these buildings was dropped.
ha preso un colore un po' più oscuro.
Però lei ha detto che è dell'epoca.
Sì, è uno dei più antichi che ci sono.
And each is defined by their complex curves that defied all conventional architectural rules. Complex curves that defied all conventional architectural rules. These buildings were born from the mind of Antoni Gaudí, born in 1852 to a family of craftsmen. Antoni Gaudí found much of his inspiration and meaning in architecture by following the patterns of nature, using the beauty that he saw as a gift from God as the ultimate blueprint to the world. Gaudí himself once said, "Originality consists of going back to the origins," and that he did. These complex intertwining parabolic forms, created in a time before computers existed, are so complex that his magnum opus, the Sagrada Familia, a building which began construction over 135 years ago, is still under construction. Today, we're going to learn its story and why it has taken generations to complete. Sagrada Familia began construction in 1882 under the guidance of architect Francisco de Paula Villiers, who resigned a year later, allowing Gaudí to take over at the age of 30. Even at this young age, Gaudí saw his opportunity and set out to make the project his masterpiece, transforming the project and incorporating his signature style, combining Gothic and Art Nouvelle architecture to create something completely new. Sagrada Familia looks like the work of evolution rather than design, like a giant elaborate termite mound whose blueprint was carved from the laws of nature. Gaudí was not just a master architect. Designing buildings in creative and innovative ways is the challenge of an artist. He was a master engineer. He understood how these shapes impacted the structural integrity of the building and allowed physics and nature to dictate his designs. Rather than fight against the laws of nature, he worked with them. He bridged art and science like no man before him. He understood that nature is defined by the laws of mathematics, and to him, this was the ultimate celebration of God. Columns mimicking trees and skeletons, arches mirroring rib cages, seashell-inspired spiral stairways, spires emulating crystals, and ceilings that rival forest canopies for natural beauty. Their designs are all rooted in natural phenomenon, but for a human mind to recreate them in stone took a man with true genius. So, how on earth that Antoni Gaudí designed something so complex in an era when computational analysis did not exist. Evolution has happened upon these complicated structures through trial and error. Natural arches are the work of chance, the weak simply fall before we can witness them, while plants developed cells capable of sensing the direction of gravity to influence their growth patterns, and bone cells are stimulated to grow and multiply when placed under stress. Nature is the ultimate form of intelligent design, and Gaudí pursued a simple concept to guide his replication of these designs. The challenge that Gaudí faced was one of material strengths, his primary building material being Montjuic stone, a type of sandstone. And like all stone, it is strongest in compression. Place a rock in compression and it can withstand enormous pressure, but place it in tension and tiny imperfections in the rock allow cracks to grow, and soon the entire stone will fracture along those cracks. The challenge with constructing structures using stone is primarily one of keeping the stone in compression at all times. This has been a well-known building technique for thousands of years, but it was the Romans who truly saw and utilized its potential. Unlike ancient Greek structures, characterized by vertical posts and horizontal lintel constructions, Roman buildings are defined by arches and domes. They raised massive structures, like their famous aqueducts and the Pantheon Dome, structures that still stand today, a testament to their sturdiness. The arch's strength is derived from how it transfers weight to the ground. Let's compare a post and lintel structure and an arch spanning an equal distance. As long as the posts remain vertical, they will remain entirely in compression, the downwards force of gravity squeezing the stones against the unmoving ground. However, the horizontal beam, the lintel, will experience both compression and tension as
these beams were laid there by the airships, piece by piece.
it sags from its own weight. The upper surface will bend inwards, causing compression, while the lower surface will experience tension as it is stretched. This severely limits its structural strength. An arch, in comparison, allows the force to be distributed neatly across the arch. There are no hard corners to allow bending stresses to develop. The reaction force from the ground can travel smoothly up the same path as the force of gravity takes downwards, allowing the stones to remain in compression, and thus allowing the arch to carry more weight. This imaginary path is called the line of thrust, and modelling it was Gaudí's specialty. Designing with these concepts in mind is relatively simple with a 2D structure like an aqueduct, but expanding it out to form something as complex as Sagrada Familia is a whole other ballgame. Even the simple columns of the basilica's interior split and diverge like growing trees. The flying buttresses of the Passion facade sweep outwards and defy belief that they could possibly remain standing when they are constructed from nothing more than sandstone. So, how did Gaudí do it? Simple, he used strings. When you hang a flexible material like a rope over a gap, it has no rigidity to allow it to remain in any position other than the one that allows it to remain in pure tension. Hang a rope from a single point and it will hang directly downwards, the entire length of the string in tension. Hang it between 2 points and it will sag downwards, until once again the entire string is in tension. Add more weight and it will sag with a deeper parabolic arch to allow it to remain in tension. You can see a pattern developing here. We can use strings to map out these lines of thrust, but we want our stones to be in compression, not tension. How can we apply this to stones? Simple, take a photo and turn it upside down. Gaudí started by drawing the footprint of the church on a piece of wood at a 1:10 scale. Next, he attached anchor points for the strings in locations where he wanted support columns to exist. From there, he gradually started adding strings.
What if this is a rare photo of the actual strings that was connected to the airships before they dropped these pieces? What we're looking at is a piece that just got dropped. Open your eyes, question everything. Keep your head on a swivel.
Strings and weights. The weights were scaled to represent the actual weight the columns would need to support at about 1/10,000th of the actual weight. This weight was scaled to represent the difference in stiffness between the string and the rock that it represented. He tinkered with this string model for a decade before he was content with its final form. He used this model to inform his design work. In this reconstructed model underneath the Sagrada Familia, you can see the shape of the building beginning to emerge. This was the skeleton upon which he would carve his masterpiece.
We are enablers. We make enabling software.
Gaudí devoted the rest of his life to carving this model, designing the intricate facades, each depicting stories from the Bible, adding detail that few would see, and as the project ran on, Gaudí withdrew from life, rejecting any additional projects. In 1914, he made his home inside the Sagrada Familia workshop. His obsession with his final masterpiece took over his life. He neglected his personal appearance and became a disheveled recluse. His days were devoted to praying and overseeing the design and construction of the Sagrada Familia, and on June 7, 1926, disaster struck. At the age of 73, Gaudí was struck by a tram on his daily walk to confession and was left to die in the streets. Passerbys did not recognize
if you look at this where they started rebuilding, I'm telling you, these things were dropped off by airships piece by piece. They probably had 4 more trips to finish this thing off, but they didn't happen. They took off before they could stop with the airships drop-offs. All these old school Tartarian buildings, they're pre-manufactured boys being dropped off by airships. We found it on these waters. We was looking and we found it.
Attempts to piece together the shattered models back together were difficult, as pieces were either too damaged or missing completely. But the designers that took up Gaudí's vision worked with what they had. This is now their story. This is where this story really begins to captivate me. This building has taken so long to complete that it has spanned not just generations of engineers, but generations of technology. The passage of time has led to some increases in production rates, but has also caused its fair share of delays. Sandstone comes in a wide variety of colours due to differences in impurities. These can range from blues and greys right through to pink and red. When construction began on Sagrada Familia, this sandstone was in plentiful supply from the Montjuic quarry. It's this stone that gives the Sagrada Familia its distinctive tan colour, while also having a high quartz content, making it more durable than most sedimentary rocks. But as the decades passed, the stone began to become more scarce. In 1954, when work began on the Passion facade, the limited stock of the stone quickly became apparent. Soon the sculptor's hands became idle, as the stone's availability was limited to whatever was left over in stocks or what could be scavenged from other buildings in Catalonia. 1,000 meters cubed of the stone was made available when the old Olympic Stadium was remodeled to increase spectator capacity. When stone was not available, they resorted to bricks, which can be seen in many of the cathedral's towers. But recycled stone was always preferred when possible. As the project drew on, these sources began to run dry, creating a bottleneck in their supply chain that prevented work from continuing. The project's managers were forced to start looking for alternative supplies.
This is a beautiful shot of you just seeing how they butchered this building. You know, like I said, man, these airships was doing it piece by piece. I cannot stress this enough. I am excited to tell you guys this. This airship, they might have had seven trips on this airship trip. By looking at this could have went way taller. This could have went way taller. They just closing it too fast. You can look at the geometry and you can tell that this starts to curve when it's not supposed to. It's, you know, at least it didn't finish.
From around the world. Over the past few decades of construction, the cathedral has incorporated various variants of sandstone and granite from around the world, doing their best to match their color and physical properties to the original Montjuic stone. Stone from Galicia, Cantabria, Scotland, England and France have all contributed to help finish the Sagrada Familia, while other stones have been sourced to meet more specific aesthetic requirements. The passage of time has come with plenty of setbacks, but in recent years, technology has provided many blessings. Obvious improvements like modern cranes are noticeable, yet probably underappreciated by the general public. 3D modeling softwares have slowly caught up with Gaudi's genius. Early civil engineering software was too simple to recreate his designs, but architects working on the project discovered that aeronautical engineering design software could model the complex curves Gaudi envisioned, and the project actually resulted in a merging of these softwares to improve civil engineering modeling techniques. Cash flow has increased drastically over the years too. For decades, the only money the Sagrada Familia received was through donations to the church. In the early days of construction, these donations came in dribs and drabs, but today the church has no shortage of funding, being one of the most popular tourist sites in the world. Since it opened its doors to the public, Sagrada Familia has been raising a consistent and reliable cash flow from the millions of tourists that pay to visit it every year. This helps pay for the materials and workers needed to complete it. But those workers are not always easy to come by. The art of sculpting has slowly withered away over the past century, and skilled craftsmen are difficult to come by. Here, technology has come in to lend a helping hand. Sculptors still play an important role in the process, completing delicate tasks like...
Man, they are butchering that building, aren't they? They don't have the original blueprints. I can't stress that enough, so they are completely Las Vegas, put it together the best way they can, butchering it.
Surface texturing, but today, most of the heavy-duty cutting is now done by CNC machines, which can cut the stone exactly to requirements and ensure perfect fits between the pieces for the internal steel supports. Because today, the workers are not assembling the towers stone by stone like in Gaudi's time. They are using tension steel bars running through the center of the stones to compress the stones together and form a larger...
That's how the airship dropped them all off. They didn't do it. They didn't build that original castle stone by stone. They had these boys getting dropped off just like this from a quarry, where I don't know. For all I know, they could have been traveling from the Grand Canyon back and forth, just because that's where all their architects, that's where their top, designers, that's where they had their laser cutting technology. I don't know, but they had to be getting it from a specific location. It was a trip back and forth till the thing got built. That's why they're saying most of these buildings only took 6 months. This one probably could have took a year if nothing got interrupted like it did. They probably could have had this thing done from 6 months to a year that fast by dropping these boys off. Airships explain so much when it comes to how fast they got taken apart. Because all you need is airships just to come pick them up again and drop them right back off at the quarry. I'm like, we'll fix that little edge, that you hit. You weren't supposed to hit that. We'll give you a point for you know, hitting that don't hit no more edges on the rest of these projects. You know, who knows? It could be a giant quarry where they have reused parts back in the day. That could be how they did it. And that's what, for entertainment purposes, that's where I'm at.
Panel, allowing pieces to be partially assembled before being lifted to the tower and assembled like a giant stone Lego set. This has drastically decreased construction time. With all of these advances, the project is now expected to finish.
We are behind. I'm going to interrupt this dude all day because he's sending people off. But they had the precision to get it done quickly. I'm telling you, they are struggling. If you guys look at how bad they are struggling to complete this, the fact they only did it in 6 months, they were efficient. They knew what they were doing. These buildings were getting created all across the world.
Far sooner than originally expected by 2026, on the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. The building has undoubtedly diverged from Gaudi's original designs. The sculptures of the Passion facade are nothing like the sculptures of the Nativity facade built during Gaudi's lifetime. Colours of stone are off in places. The difference in weathering between the Nativity facade and the newer parts is particularly noticeable. The architects that took up the mantle of Gaudi's masterpiece could never have finished it exactly to his vision after his plans were destroyed. But I have no doubt in my mind that Gaudi would be proud to see his creation finally come to a close. Entering the basilica, you are met with floods of colour from the stained glass windows, each depicting stories from the Bible.
I believe those stone glass windows was probably already there, mate.
While filling the interior with colours reminiscent of rainbows, sunsets, and light piercing through a green forest canopy. I am by no means a religious man, but there is something inherently spiritual about this building, and I think any person who shares that same awe of our mysterious existence on this planet will feel the same. For me, that is the root of all religions, and to me, this building is the ultimate celebration of spirituality, through its celebration of nature. In the end, I believe...
Alright, we're done here. This scary TikTok hits a lot harder now after watching what just took place.
Oh, we've got your ass. We've got your ass now. This is the La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. And the people that said they built this, they didn't build it. This is what you call Morish Tartarian. So the mainstream narrative says they started building this before Nelson Mandela was alive. They said they started building this before Morgan Freeman was alive, before World War I and World War II. They're saying they started building this at the last reset in the 1800s. So you're trying to tell me this took 141 years to build and you still haven't finished it yet? There's still scaffolding on the roof, brother. So they like to say the original architect suddenly died halfway through. And they rely on funding every year to, no, listen, mate, don't lie. You haven't got the blueprints for this one. You don't know how to build it. Because look how ugly and mash up the building really is. This is what you call melted brick. This building was here before the mud flood. This building was there when the Moors ruled Spain. And when you look for construction photos, all you get is something like this. This don't look like a building site. This looks like a reset rescue mission. So no, you man didn't build that building. The Morish Tartarians did.
Look how terrible that is. This is a reset rescue mission. He couldn't have said that even better. Shout out to the Bully Slayer, the OG of this. He said that a year ago. I'm just now catching on, you know? Damn, Morish Tartarians. But something important I wanted to bring up.
Let's talk about... Oh, we've got your ass. Because look how...
Now, I'm just sitting here looking at how massive this building is and how they didn't finish. What if the Tower of Babel was built the exact same way? It had to be. Because they didn't have scaffolding back in the day. I guarantee it, because there's no way we're just going backwards by using scaffolding. What if they had everybody in the world using all their resources to build something just like this? You had like 20 airships coming in at a time, and they're just stacking on top of each other, stacking it like one giant Lego building, and this thing reaches the heavens. That's how the Tower of Babel got created. If you ask me how the Tower of Babel got created, they were stacked by the airships, you know, and it got out of control, you know. People were, you know, that was probably the best way of building. Think about it now. We're chilling today. Think if you could get a house today for $50,000 just dropped off to you by an airship. Do you know how tight that would be? You know, everybody would be doing that. You know, now you got to get what is called a pre-manufactured home. Semi-trucks are coming. It's going to be pieced together already. But you spending half the money hooking it up, you know, and it just doesn't make sense. You know, when they had literally everything you needed dropped off to you with the airship, and then it just dipped off. Man. All right, y'all, that was a banger. If y'all made it this far, be sure you drop the code word is video. If you made it this far, put awesome video for the code word so I know you made it all the way through, and I appreciate you guys, man. We're going to be doing a live this weekend. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to be doing a live, and we're going to be hanging out, chilling, you know, reacting to some scary, creepy videos, or we might just do a recap on some older ones and just do it live together, you know, and get everyone's thoughts live, and we dive into different stuff together. I love doing that stuff. Thank you so much. I love you guys. God bless. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace out.